Immediately you approach the subject of improvising on the guitar, you hit the question, how do I select which notes to play when? Now if you play a backing track and then just randomly select notes from the fretboard, by careful listening and a process of trial and error, you can gradually home in on the notes that sound good and learn to avoid the notes that don't sound so good. So that process would look a bit like this. That's actually a really good drill, a great way to improve your listening skills. But as a method to learn to improvise, it's a very long and laborious route to take. If instead I first carefully listen to the tune and work out what key it's in, then I can take steps to greatly improve the odds of hitting the right notes most of the time. So that's my first approach, is finding the key that the thing is in. So as we're listening to the music, try and hear where it comes to rest, where it comes home. There, that's its key notes. And then I'm going to just work up my bass string here, listening. And there we go. Just check it as it comes around again. Here we go. So I've figured out that that's in the key of B flat. Having figured out that I'm in the key of B flat, I can now select a pattern, a scale pattern that I know is going to work by and large over that piece of music. So for example, B flat has a kind of, this song has a kind of major feel to it, so I'm going to use a B flat country scale pattern. And what you'll see is that even if I just play this pattern randomly, I've already improved the musicality of what I'm doing. So immediately you can hear that those notes fit more happily against that tune, even though I'm not even bothering to try to phrase yet. But the other point is that because this is a pattern that I've drilled literally thousands of times, and literally can play in my sleep, that enables my fingers a great deal of freedom to move around the fretboard, leaving me free to really listen carefully and to make all those subtle adjustments of phrasing to fit the chord changes. There are two systematic approaches to learning to improvise. Ultimately, the chord-specific approach is probably the more powerful and most sort of creatively satisfying of these two approaches, but it is many times harder to master than the key-specific approach. This is because with the chord-specific approach you have to shift your ideas over every single chord change. So for people new to learning to improvise, I strongly suggest taking the key-specific approach first. This enables you to use just one set of patterns over the whole chord sequence. This frees up your attention so that you can use your ears to find the right phrasing and to express yourself artistically. This sort of makes it much less of a mental exercise and much more of a creative one, and therefore a lot more fun. I'd also make the point that all the work you do when you're working on the key-specific approach is good build-up work to get over onto the chord-specific approach at a later date. So you're not kind of losing that particular pathway, you're preparing for it very effectively. There are 6 types of scales that it really helps to get under your belt to master key-specific improvising. Now we're going to give you a quick tour of these because each one has really specific applications and gives you a different sort of flavour of sound, if you like. So let's start off with the blues scale, which we've already done a bit of work with, and obviously its first line of application is blues music. Effectively over minor ballads. Here's a quick shot of House of the Rising Sun, for example. And reggae tunes in minor keys as well. Same set of patterns as the blues scales, but by using a little trick we're going to show you on this course, we can turn these into country scales. Now the country scale's first line of application, as you might guess, is country music. Something like this. Scale also works great over sort of major key ballad type songs. Trad jazz tunes. Once you've mastered the basic blues scale patterns, there's a whole range of music you can jam along to already. But here's some more good news. By dropping just one note from the blues scale patterns, you get another type of scale called the pentatonic scale. Now, the minor pentatonic scale is the staple diet of rock guitarists. scales are also used quite often in folk music. Celtic folk music in particular has a nice major pentatonic feel to it quite often. Something like this. Finally, by adding a couple of notes to the pentatonic scales, we get the natural minor scale and the major scale. Now these scales are a little harder to work with, which is why we leave them till last on the course. But they have a great many applications. The natural minor scale, we start off applying that to give your music a sort of Spanish feel to it, what I call pseudo flamenco, something like this. And these scales can also be used to improvise in a sort of jazz style, a melodic jazz style if you like. Major scale, which is the staple diet of hymn tunes, nursery rhymes, trad jazz tunes and American folk tunes. Short demo, we've really just scratched the surface of how to use this method of improvising. Key-specific improvising is the easiest route into learning to improvise on the guitar, and the skills and knowledge that you build up along the way will really help prepare you for the more adventurous types of music making that we get up to on the advanced section of this site. The first key to success with this approach to improvising is to learn and then drill the scale patterns. Now you'll get a lot of help with that on this site, on this course, and also from the guitar gym section of the site. The second key element is to spend a lot of time improvising, ideally with other musicians, but failing that, along to backing tracks. We've got a huge selection of backing tracks that you can help yourself to, which you can access directly from the main menu and play along to any time you like. Now I think that improvising on the guitar is probably the most enjoyable side of playing guitar. I know it is for a lot of people, and I wish you many, many happy hours of doing just that. Okay, see you on the course.